okay, to stand one here in either side of me, okay, and I want you to please put, I'm going to ask you to tilt your head back, be a bit of a rude girl, there we go. Stand on this side of me. Guys, you might want to move a little bit back so you can see. Let's take this off you for a second. And I'm going to show you how this crater was made. Now, millions of years ago, in this area, was all different layers of rock. Mainly, let's say, rock like sandstone and chalk. These are rocks that were created not from under the sea, but by the movement of the earth, under the earth, the surface of the earth, the movement of the sands which have solidified, and the creating of different strata of rock. You can see that here, right? Different strata of rock, creating this nice flat landscape. Along comes our old friend, we spoke about it earlier in the canyon. What comes along in this whole area? Water. Water, the sea. This whole area is covered in sea, and the moment you have sea, you have sedimentary rock, like the skeletons of all the little animals. And so we have on top of the first bit of rock, the sandstone and things like this, we have sedimentary rock, like limestone and dolomite. So we're layering it up even more, but still, the area is completely flat. And then something happens. Underneath the surface of the earth, things are afoot. All kinds of activity, movement of the earth. We're in a very sensitive area right now of the movement of plates, volcanic activity going on under the ground, believe it or not. And things start to happen, which mean that the flat ground starts to be pushed up until we end up with some kind of raised up, like the whole land has been pushed up into a hill. What you can see, believe it or not, behind you, you would have seen not a crater, but actually a hill. But then, what happened when we spoke about the water in the canyon? What happens? The water starts to, so get rid of the sea, and now it's raining. And when the rain starts to seep in, right? The rain starts to seep in and make its way into, let's make some cuts. Make cuts in, and it makes some holes in the avatich. In the avatich, it starts to make some holes in the hill, and it's making holes. It's hard work. This. It's making holes, and it's making its way slowly but surely into the surface of the hill. There we go, and it's sinking down deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, until at a certain point, at this point, the water is starting to go down into, sinking down into it, and it's going, out. What happens is, as the water goes in, all of the rocks inside, remember we spoke about the dolomite and the limestone, and underneath we've got the sandstone and all of these different rocks, start to be swept away by the water. Now whenever there's water, the water's trying to look for a way out. And so far over in this corner we have a way out, okay, Nachal Ramon, and so the water is flowing out of this crater that's being created. It's flowing out of this crater that's being created, and it's taking with it all of the rocks that are inside. There we go, some rocks over here, it's taking them out. Okay. And what we have, very interestingly, we have this situation that's formed. Instead of a flat and instead of a hill, we have exactly what you can see behind, which is actually into the belly of the earth. What you're looking at here is right now is not just a crater, but you're looking into the belly of the earth. And if you take a look, especially in this direction, far, far, far in this direction, you can see very clearly the lines on the cliff. What that lines on the cliff is the very top. You can see the lines are also not flat, but they're facing like this, slightly ever so up. Why? Because they're aiming towards what was once the top of the hill that covered this whole crater, this whole Machtesh was actually a hill. The lines are facing upwards because once the hill was formed, and what means that as you go the rock layers down and down and down and down, you're looking at the history of the earth. The layers at the top that you can see are the newest kinds of rock, and the layers going down are getting older and older and older, which means that the rocks at the top, the rocks right at the top are relatively new, but the rocks right at the bottom, are as old as 200 million years old. So what you're looking at now, this is an incredible opportunity that you can do almost nowhere in the world, is you're actually looking down right now towards the bottom of the earth. Down towards the bottom of the earth. Say we have something like a huge cruise crater, about 40 kilometers, I don't know what that is in miles, about 25 miles, something like this across, about 9 kilometers wide, and not created by any meteor, but simply created by little drops of water that have gone down and down and down and down and down and down and down, trying to find a way out, and creating this huge Machtesh Ramon crater. Now, just to let you know, this is the biggest crater of this kind. This is the biggest Machtesh that we have in Israel. But there are also some other ones, not so far from here. There's also one called the Machtesh Gadol, the big Machtesh, which was found before this one. So they thought it was the biggest, but then they found this one. There's the Machtesh Katan, the small one. And there's also another couple of very small ones, and another couple of very small ones in Sinai. But again, if you want to see this phenomenon, this is the place to go. And if you're interested in geology and the formation of rocks, you have a unique opportunity now to look deep inside into the belly of the earth. And if, by the way, you don't believe me about the whole volcanic activity thing, can you see some of the colors down here? The black is actually a rock called basalt, in Hebrew bazelet, which is a rock that comes from when the magma actually flows out of the belly of the earth and hardens. So you can see right now the history of the world, the creation of the earth, unraveled before you in the layers inside the Machtesh. So guys, take a few moments. I was going to say we have a beautiful one here which we can cut a little bit, and we can have a little bit of the watermelon. You're welcome to eat. I think we should, if someone wants to eat some, we can do a bit of cutting.